And welcome to another community stream here at the Den of Nerds Live. We're doing things a little bit differently tonight, so I'm hoping this is going to be better for the broadcast. Let me know, everybody in chat, if you can hear me all good. Does this sound okay? We are running this chat strictly through StreamYards. I know it seems crazy considering that we've had problems with Streamlabs in the past, but I actually think that things will run pretty smooth if we take StreamYard out of the equation for at least just the community stream. So this might just be a thing that we do for the community stream. So let me know if everything's going well. I'm going to put in chat the link. Dangerous thing putting the link in the chat, but the link is in chat. I see Trev in the back room. I'm going to bring Trev in just a minute. I want to know how everybody's doing, man. How is everybody doing? Now, look, there's obviously a lot of things that we want to talk about, okay? Tonight, the main topic is, of course, Deborah Chow. Not Deborah, Deborah. I don't know if you knew that. I found that out filling out the metadata for this thing. Deborah Chow. Possibly going over to do Marvel stuff, okay? Big stuff over at Marvel's Captain Marvel 2, Avengers. Very big deal. But what about Star Wars? Deborah was supposed to save Star Wars. Deborah was supposed to do good for Star Wars. So which one is it? Is she going over to Marvel? Should she stay over at Star Wars? Could she possibly do both? But I'll say this. There's actually another really big story. I know many of you have talked about this throughout the day. I know many of you have seen this story throughout the day, and so I want to spend just a second to talk about this new story. I know everybody's been, hitting me up about it. I know everybody wants to talk about it. It is, of course, that Mixer is shut down. Yes, Mixer is shut down, meaning that Ninja and Shroud will get to keep the money from their major contracts from Mixer, and that platform is going away, so they'll probably be streaming back on Twitch. I'm just kidding. That's not the story you're talking. We're talking of course, the Michael Keaton thing. Save it. Okay. We're going to talk about that tomorrow on the morning stream. It should be a really good discussion. So let's table that for now and let's try to focus on Deborah Chow. By the way, Trinity, I see you in chat. Let me know if you're streaming tomorrow, man, because I might go for a little bit longer than the usual hour if you are not going to stream. Okay. So let's bring Trev in. Trev. Welcome to the stream, man. How you doing?
Yeah, man. How you doing?
Good. Had a pretty good day, actually. I'm feeling good. What about you?
It's been kind of a headache of a day, but it's all right.
Well, look, you're here now. And we're talking about Deborah. So, give me your baseline thoughts on Deborah.
I think she's done a decent job. I don't know what she's done other than the Mandalorian. Like I think you said earlier today, I think you said something along the line. She was doing maybe a few Breaking Bad episodes or something. I haven't looked at her filmography particularly, but I think the episodes she's done of Mandalorian, she did them well. I want to say she could do more. I think she was offered the Obi-Wan gig, right, for the TV series.
Yeah, I mean, the story goes that she's actually still attached to that, and she's still going to do that series. So, yeah, no, she's attached to that for sure.
Yeah, I think to me, I think she does a good job in Star Wars, and maybe she could do a good job in Marvel. But like from all the stuff we've seen so far, she's done a good job with Star Wars.
Yeah,
like what Favreau and Filoni are liking, and what Kathy Kennedy's liking, I guess. So, and it's a big deal to be female representation in Star Wars, right? So I imagine they will kind of want to build her up on that side and maybe give her, like I said, if they're going to let her show run maybe Obi-Wan, that's a huge thing, right? So I think she's more than capable of, but go ahead, John. Go ahead.
Well, no. I would just say that, it's kind of like what I said this morning. It's that, she's a valuable piece on this like proverbial chessboard that is the entertainment game moving forward. And I think that like, whether or not you think the representation thing is whack or not, because I know there's people that think that and, whatever. Either way, I think you'd be daft to deny that she's valuable to these companies. So she's incredibly valuable. And, I'm about to bring Freeman in. I'm about to bring Dan in. Here's what I want to say, too, because I don't know if Star Wars Santa is watching right now or if he's going to be watching later or something like that. But I sort of want to dispel this idea that she could do both. I'm not saying she can't do both, but I think where I want to take this conversation and what would be important for this chat is the fact that I think Marvel and Feige want to lock her up for a good bit of stuff. They want to sort of Russo brothers her for a while, if you
You
will.
think Feige would just take her though?
Well, that's what we want. That's what we want to talk about, right? That's what we're going to talk about. So, let me just put that out on Front Street so that people kind of know that that's where we're going with that. Now, let's bring in Freeman and let's bring in Dan. Gentlemen, how are we?
What's going on?
So, we've talked a little bit about this so far. What are your baseline thoughts on Deborah? What do you guys think?
You took my argument off the board. I'm so
Oh
upset.
no. What, the both thing?
Yeah, I was going to argue the both, but I would say, yeah, I mean, her, if she's sticking with Marvel, to stick with the Disney Plus side of it and develop more content for Disney Plus, I would definitely look forward to, because I want them to bring back the Netflix shows to Disney Plus and continue that series. Because I mean, minus Iron Fist, I loved everything that they did over there.
Yeah, and she was involved with that stuff a lot too, for sure. No, I see what you're saying. We can talk a little bit more later about the possibility of her doing both, because I think that she could ultimately, right?
I think, yeah, I think there's room for it. I had thought about this before it came onto the show, so
Well, just hit me, man. Hit me. Go ahead.
all right. So
We can go there.
my thinking was, she could do. No one's doing the whole 22 to 24 episode shows anymore for a season, right? So what if you can sign her on episodically for like Disney Plus, and she's committed to, let's say, 22 episodes, but they're for different shows. So she would be directing like 3 or 4 episodes for Marvel, for a couple Marvel shows, and for a couple Star Wars shows. Not taking on the whole thing, but just, because I like how they, bring in a different like variety of directors for a single season, because it adds like different characters to each episode. Like I want to continue. I want them to continue that type of strategy moving forward.
Dude, I mean, like, so I see what you're saying. My only thing is this. I think two things that come into my mind sort of right away are, number one, I think her stock is a little higher than that. I think she's a little more valuable than that. So like they don't want to use her sort of sprinkled in episodes anymore. That was sort of what she was doing on the come up. I feel like she sort of arrived. And number two, I think the shows themselves, especially on the Marvel side, but potentially even on the Star Wars side, it's hard to say. But I think on the Marvel side, they're going to go in a direction that's more singular creator or singular director. So a lot of times these shows, kind of, as you just pointed out, have, different directors throughout, and it's really the writers. Like television is more of a writer's game. But I think that with the streaming stuff, they're going to change that, because what's the show? It might be WandaVision, and I gotta like look into this, but it's one director that's doing like the whole show. And I think that's the same thing with like Moon Knight and potentially with She-Hulk. So that would be my only rebuttal to that, really.
Well, you got to think that also, that it's a showrunner usually that is the kind of a director of the whole overall vision for these shows, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what Favreau was to Mandalorian. That's what Scott Buck was to Iron Fist, Dexter season 8, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, so I think, but I just wanted to comment on saying that. But go ahead, Dan.
Yeah,
it's your turn to go there, buddy.
I'm just gonna, get these 2 points on out the way. First point being, Freeman, you were my dog up until you said bring the Netflix shows and Disney Plus. I can't ride with you there. No.
Oh my God!
And I'm sorry, but that's a conversation for another day, brother. It's cool. It's cool. And
it's all good. It's all good.
2, let's look at the facts when it comes to Deborah Chow and the whole Marvel Star Wars thing. We know that she is going to be involved in the Obi-Wan series, correct?
Showrunning it, apparently, right? That's what the offer is for her to showrun it.
And thanks to the documentary series, we also know that she's a very deep part of the Mandalorian. Right now, it is known that with all that out there, she's more onto the Star Wars scene than what Marvel is doing with her. So where I'm going with it is, with Taika Waititi getting his own movie, I think it's already set in stone that Disney will be putting the Mandalorian team their own movies.
Giving them
Like
their own projects anyway. Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
A
So
lot of people think that, Dan. That's like, yeah, I think that's a
Word.
pretty, yeah. I mean, I think that really,
okay.
yeah,
you
it
think
makes sense.
Rick,
Yeah.
Rick Famuyiwa will get like a
For sure.
project as well with Star
Yeah.
Wars.
Yeah, and I'd love it. I mean, that what a better. I mean, honestly, as much goodwill. It kind of sucks to say, but like as much goodwill as they can like suck from Mando, like a Dementor. Like I think that's useful. You know what I mean? That would be good for them.
Hold on, yo.
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally on board with that too. As long as there is a cohesive story, like, and there's a clear cut narrative when they're creating these stories, so that it maintains that through line. So even if they are bringing in different directors and different for different projects, and giving them their own projects, like they have to maintain that level of connectedness between the stories, and make sure that they have that MCU, that Star Wars MCU feel, because Marvel has done it to a spectacular degree. And we just want to see it for Star Wars, like,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like,
Well,
for sure.
I was gonna say, like, look at let's look at the documentary series doing the gallery or whatever there, right? So so they're all sitting there at this table. You're telling me they're doing this show after that, they're not having talks. Like, it's almost like a summit of all the directors that they're working with, right? Like, it's almost like, so Jon Favreau and Filoni are sitting there with all of them, and this is post first season of Mandalorian, so they're all sitting there probably having ideas, having writers there as well, and all that kind of stuff, and they're all kind of. And maybe they're plotting along with doing that gallery. They're possibly plotting the next 5-10 years of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like deciding what they were going to do with it, right? Like, so Deborah, you go here, you do Obi-Wan, whether it be a movie or a TV show,
Right.
or Taika, you're going here. Rick, you're going here. If Bryce Dallas Howard gets a opportunity to do something else too, maybe, you never know. Like, it's and Filoni's obviously going to be doing. Well, not obviously, but you think he's going to be doing Ahsoka, the TV series, and the animation stuff that he's been doing, right? Like, I imagine with like with the sequel series to Rebels, etc. But like, so all these people are just kind of going out following Mandalorian, and actually they're building the stuff before and after Mandalorian specifically. Like Ahsoka, the Ahsoka series will probably take place if she's by herself. Before Mando, right, or before the? Actually, we don't have a really time frame for when the Ahsoka series will take place, eh?
Ahsoka,
Whether it's going to be after
really,
Mando, or if it's going to be like during the Return of the Jedi kind of time frame.
Ahsoka's been rumored to be a part of so many things. Like, she's rumored to get an animated show with Sabine, to be a part of the Obi-Wan show. Like, she's all over the place.
The sequel Rebel series.
At this point, we may as well prepare for Ahsoka to be immortal.
Hey, look, honestly though, like, what a better choice. Like, I would love that, to be real. If she became some sort of like a Jedi god or like a Force god.
Some sort of like
Well, I think she's beyond Jedi right now, right? She's not a Jedi. She's beyond Jedi, right? Like,
so I'll say right. So I'll say this too, because I want to bring Tony in here too. But like, so I think that what I'm kind of getting from you guys and a little bit from the chat too is that it's like, look, man, like Marvel, you're good. Like you're good. Like, fall back. Like, Chow is
or if Marvel has if Star Wars has like a 5-year plan, let them do that 5 years and say phase 5, phase 6 of Marvel. Like, again, I don't want to say like what Freeman was saying, like doing both at the same time, obviously, but give her 5 years here, let her.
She's gonna. That's a good point, Trev. Yeah, that's a good point. How old is Deborah? Does anybody know? I mean, she's probably
I have her Wikipedia page up right now. Just
like I'm gonna guess early 40s.
Yeah, that would be my guess too.
I was thinking the same.
Yeah.
It doesn't say she's Canadian though.
Oh, she's Canadian? Cool.
Yeah. She's been working since like 2002 as a director of like her first 2 short films.
Right.
So I imagine she's around our age, 40-ish.
Yeah,
I'd say so. 40-ish, I imagine.
Yeah, I'd say so. But that means she's got a long career, bro. She can
Yeah,
she can do 10 years and then 10 years and then do her own thing or whatever. But anyways, let's bring Tony in here. Tony's been so patient. Tony, what's going on, man? Welcome to the stream.
Hi guys. Hi Trev. Hi Dan and
What's up, bud?
What's up, bro?
Freeman.
What's going on?
Actually, this is my plan for Star Wars. I'm not sure if you guys would agree with. Specifically, Deborah Chow should be the director or the showrunner for the Ahsoka series or a Bo-Katan series.
Bo-Katan series.
Yo,
I mean, yeah, she would
Bo-Katan
probably
series
crush
would be
both of them.
fire.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I'm thinking Bo-Katan. I mean, like, so I sort of laid out some of this on the video yesterday, but I think that like Bo-Katan might play. Like, I really hope they get to post episode 9 with their plans here. And if they do, I mean, the only thing is Bo-Katan would be pretty old.
Yeah, she's got to be dead by then.
She'll probably die. Yeah, you're right.
She's a warrior, right? She's a Mandalorian.
I think they should have a Tony Stark level character. Like, I think Ahsoka should be the Tony Stark or Captain Marvel for Star Wars.
I think she will. And let me ask you this. Let's sidetrack on this just for a second because I'm really interested. A lot of people said in the comments. Yeah. A lot of people said in the comments that like these television characters that like the normies won't get it, or like that not enough people like love Ahsoka or Ezra or something like that. Do you think that's true, guys?
Love Thrawn.
Yes, that's very true.
I'm a normie. I'm not obsessed with Star Wars like you guys are, but my favorite Star Wars character was Ahsoka because I watched the
Clone Wars,
the Rebel series in high school.
Nice.
Okay. I mean, it might be kind of up to the fans to put the normies onto that kind of stuff, but
yeah.
I think Ahsoka is a little bit more mainstream than like a Bo-Katan and some of the and Ezra.
Yeah.
Ahsoka, because her name has been around for years now. Like the other
2009.
characters haven't had that longevity. Like because she was introduced in the Clone Wars animated TV show in 2008. So like that's what like 12 years.
12 years.
So she's
had her own book. She's had her Bo-Katan's never had her own book.
Well, plus like Clone Wars, the most recent stint of Clone Wars, the ratings on that were ridiculous, dude. Like they said, because I forget how they worded it, because they never like give the actual numbers, but they said that like for several of the weeks that Clone Wars was going on, it was actually popping at like a Stranger Things level. Like it was doing that many impressions and impacts on social media, and just the numbers of views and watches that they had on that last season, I think was way bigger than they expected.
On what, 6 or 7?
I would say season 7, but it probably was all throughout, to be honest with you. But it probably, of course, at the very last few episodes were probably the biggest.
I can imagine those last.
And do you guys think this is an interesting question? Do you guys think D.B. Weiss or Benioff from Game of Thrones would ever come back to Star Wars, or no?
Yeah.
Let me answer that as most respectfully as I can with a capital hell no.
I don't. I agree with Dan. I don't want them to come back, and I think they might want to come back sometime, but I think they burned their bridges with Star Wars. I want to say, like,
it wasn't their fault.
It wasn't necessarily their fault. I wasn't, but
it was Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah, she may have fired them, and then they went out and got that deal with Netflix or whatever. They were, what was it, $125 million deal or something with Netflix?
I think it was like 300, dude. I think it was
300.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
It was big, baby. Yeah, I mean that goes to their company, right? So like it's gonna get spread around, but yeah.
I mean, I think that if they've got a story already written, and they're coming in just to direct it and put their own like spin on it, then I would want to see that. But like if they're coming in to create, I don't know.
Were they going to direct it all though, or were they just gonna? They were just conceptually coming up.
I think weren't they going to write and direct the series?
They were going to do both.
Yeah, it was a trilogy, right? It was a trilogy of movies that they were going to do, right?
Right. So it was actually
to be about Knights of the Old Republic, I think.
Yeah. So so the story, they actually were not going to direct, but they were heavily involved in the production and they were writing. So they were going to be writing and producing it. But I've actually been told literally by a source that Kathy wants them to come back very badly and that they are actually open to coming back. So if you remember when all that stuff first came out, it was like almost really weird how nice Kathy was in the comments. Like if you guys remember, her comments were something like, Dan and Dave are incredible storytellers, blah blah blah. And so there was like zero bad blood, almost like praise from both sides that seemed uncharacteristic of like a big deal like that breaking down. So like I was told that they actually legit want them back. I don't know if that's still the case. I mean, Kathy might actually be on her way out, so who knows if who knows. But
that's another
Say, I
thing.
thought
Do you think it would make sense? Do you think
yeah.
Kevin Feige has a creative juices to control both Star Wars and Marvel?
I think okay. So here's my thing on that. Well, maybe I should just what do you guys think about that?
I think John and Dave Filoni
Personally-
have Star Wars under control from a creative standpoint.
I agree with Freeman. I think John and Dave.
Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, he can take control of Lucasfilms, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, I think Feige. Like, here's how I would answer it. Feige is so good at what he does that he actually doesn't even have to put a lot of output into helping Lucasfilm to help Lucasfilm. And I especially think that like these guys are on it, like Filoni and Favreau. I think Filoni is going to do the Disney Plus stuff. I think Favreau is going to do the live action stuff. And I think that Feige will just come in and give some simple direction like, hey, maybe not this, maybe that. And I'm not talking about like on a film. I'm talking about like way back, like steps back in production when they're like
big picture stuff.
Yeah. When they're like, well, what if we're thinking about doing this? Like Feige will just come in and be like, probably wouldn't do that. Have you thought about doing it this way? And that's it. And he can add in a incredible amount of value to Lucasfilm because if you really think about it, that's something they're missing actually. You know what I mean? Like, because Kathy's a good producer, but she doesn't understand like modern day fandom and like modern day filmmaking in this new Kevin Feige way. She just doesn't understand it.
And do you think George Lucas is like that too? He's out of touch with the current Star Wars fans too.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I think Feige would be great in a consultant role for Lucasfilm. Just to share his expertise because they've
brothers.
executed this flawlessly over how long has this run been? When did Iron Man 1 come out? 2000?
Yeah, it's over 11 years at this point, right? Yeah.
So like, he's got some experience and some know-how that they can definitely use. And
I was going to say Feige and Favreau have been working together since Iron Man.
Yeah.
Right. Like so. I'm sure they have each other.
And Dave and John knew each other. They met while both making those things. So Dave was making Clone Wars and John was making Iron Man, and they met, I believe it was like ILM or Skywalker Sound or some shit. And that's when they started forming their friendship. Because these three amigos of nerds, they've been,
Well, because Favreau was in season 3 of Clone Wars or season 4 with.
Yeah, because he voices
Paz Vizsla, pre-Vizsla, because pre-visuals, it's pre-visuals, so pre-Vizsla.
And do you guys agree with this notion that the score of a movie can ruin the movie too, or that's an overrated concept?
Yes, it can.
100% can, yeah.
Yeah, if it's out of
you don't think that's
out
an
of
overrated
context,
concept, or fans put too much stock into that?
No.
The score of the movie is not as good as you want it to be. The movie's not going to be successful, or is it more of the writing than the score?
Everything makes the movie, like the music, the acting, the writing, all of it.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, like the way I think about it is this: bad writing can actually be fixed with good editing and with good acting. Bad music or score really can't be fixed by anything. Like there's except a better score. You know what I mean? Like. There's like movies are there's a lot of different things that hit us like all at once, but I think sound is like actually, if anything, fans get it wrong how important that is. I think it's actually way more important than people realize. But I want to go to Maverick's question here down there with the super chat. Thank you for the support, my friend. How does the volume change the game story-wise? So we can start with that question, but I think really where Mav is going with that, and I maybe saw Santa talk about this on the Discord, is the idea that maybe the volume and production itself, being able to do better with production, could facilitate Deborah doing more stuff.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
what do you guys think about that?
Absolutely. I think that the volume for The Mandalorian makes filmmaking a whole lot more efficient than it has been, especially for TV. Like episodic screenplays that, you know, those things require people moving to multiple sets, multiple locations in a shorter period of time. Like with that volume and the way that they can direct on that one volume and the dynamic, you know, that, I mean, that episode on the gallery of them talking about how the volume works and it's basically like a video game.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, that was amazing because like a lot of that I really thought that they shot on like a set on location, and to find out like all of it was just shot in that volume was like incredible. So yeah, I mean, especially for like Disney Plus and TV, like that can help tremendously with the quality of production and the efficiency and just how quickly they can get from start to finish with a production.
Yeah.
And ILM has just been on the cutting edge for God knows how long now. It's just good to see that they're continuing to innovate the space.
Well, you know what kind of sucks about that is that I was actually just talking to somebody it's kind of talking about how ILM has sort of taken a back seat in Hollywood over the past like 10 to 12 years. And a company called Third Floor Productions, I think, became the studio that sort of they do what ILM does with visual effects, but they've sort of gobbled up most of the business in Hollywood, and it was sort of a gutting. And this guy was telling me, now look, this guy's a really sort of negative on Disney Star Wars kind of dude, but he was kind of telling me that this is another byproduct of Disney Star Wars, that like ILM has like been kind of diminished in Hollywood, and I was like, ugh, that kind of sucks.
Well, they've been handling all of the Marvel stuff and a lot of Pixar.
I would have to see. I don't know offhand if how much they're handling now compared to how much they were handling before. But I know that like before in Hollywood, they were like the only game in town. So like
that's true.
You know what I mean?
For visual special effects.
Yeah. Let's see. But do you guys want to?
This is an overarching effect for both Star Wars and Marvel. Do you think once Alan Horn retires, Kevin Feige takes his position instead of just controlling the MCU and Star Wars at once, but controlling everything at Disney Productions?
I don't think Feige steps up to that position until he's done what he wants to do with the MCU.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah,
I mean, even for like Horn's like 80 years old or up late 70s anyway, right? So he's well, something like that anyway. But even if he retires, like I said, I don't think.
No, he's retiring. Like he apparently wants to retire in 2 years.
Yeah. But even if he does retire, like
wait, where did you hear that?
From John Campea, apparently.
Oh.
But yeah, so even if he does,
he said there was rumors that he wants to retire, and he might be grooming Feige to replace him. Should I trust John Campea, or that's just like BS?
He could be.
BS
Oh, so you're saying Alan Horn wants to retire in a couple of years?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I believe that.
Alan Horn already was retired, wasn't he? He was retired and he was brought back by what's his name? Their big wig at Disney. I can't think of his name right now off the top of my head.
Bob Iger.
Yeah, Iger's the one that brought him back, right? Like Iger brought him out of retirement, I think, to run Disney Film for a little bit. So
yeah, and apparently he was forced out of WB after the success of Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. So he was forced out because of his age and stuff like that.
Who, Alan Horn?
He wasn't forced out because he wasn't creating good stuff, apparently.
That's interesting.
But is he like how much of a as the head of Disney like how much of a creative say does he input into the MCU? Like I don't think he inputs a lot. I think Feige does a lot, and he has like final say kind of over stuff. But I don't think he he's not a creative. He's there for advice. He's there for advice and have a final say on kind of things on how things are rolling. And I don't think Feige will step up to that position until he does what he wants to do with the MCU.
Yeah, I agree.
Because he's pretty much there to handle the budget and keep the shareholders happy.
Yeah, like he's. I'm sure he gives advice.
So Horn's job is more of a business aspect of the production.
Yeah.
But I will say this. Right. I do think Feige would still really excel at that business side of things, though, because I personally think that like his savvy of that side of things has really helped him.
Mm-hmm.
So he's done some really kind of interesting and unique things that are very big brain, that I think have been just incredible, unprecedented business decisions, along with some really, really strong creative. So I think he can do both. But I think Trev's right. Like, I don't think Feige's going to step up to Alan Horn's position until he wants to. But he's also such a company man that I could see him taking the position before he really wanted to, if it was something Disney really needed. And, there's that sort of phrase of like, good soldier, be a good soldier. We really don't know. Disney could still be in a lot of trouble, moving forward. So
what if you say Kathy Kennedy's thing is done in a year?
Oh, you want Kathy to go up to Alan's?
I'm not saying I want Kathy Kennedy to do that.
She'd actually probably be great at that job. To be honest with you, she would probably be great at that job. But there would be a lot of.
And can you guys? I'm a normie. Can you guys explain the difference between the Old Republic and the High Republic to me?
Absolutely. Who wants to take it? Who wants to take Tony to school?
The Old Republic is like Revan and like Knights of the Old Republic. Like it took place thousands of years ago. So the High Republic is like they're doing past Jedi that they're just creating. Like the Old Republic was created like 22 years ago or something, like the late 90s, early 2000s with Knights of the Old Republic. Well, actually, even before that in comics.
Mm-hmm.
So,
go ahead.
It was a republic that lasted, like tens of thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years, well, maybe up to 100,000 years, and it kind of ended.
So basically, the Old Republic is what the George Lucas Star Wars was.
No.
Old Republic is like the Legends novels and Knights of the Old Republic game, and like there's Legends novels that take place there, and Legends comics, like Dark Horse comics that take place then, like featuring Exar Kun, Keldrama, Ulic Keldrama, Revan from the games, like old Mandalorians that were alien creatures that weren't humans. Like Mandalorians weren't like the original Mandalorians weren't humans; they were like alien-looking creatures.
So I want to say in the old EU. The Old Republic, I think the story began, I think, 1 million years before the Battle of Yavin. But in the current timeline, the canon is only like, I think, 10,000 years before the Battle of Yavin.
Yeah.
And the Old Republic is between 10,000 BBY and 9,000 BBY. And so the Galactic Republic is established 1,000 years before the Battle of Yavin. And that's, and then 200, so I think by... Was it 800 BBY, I guess? No, am I doing that math wrong? Yeah, no, 200 BBY. So the 200 years that the before the prequels where the High Republic takes place is considered the golden age of the Republic, of the Galactic Republic. But the Republic was there was a Republic before the Galactic Republic. It's reformed into the Galactic Republic like 1,000 years before the Battle of Yavin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's
like,
fair.
Have you ever heard of these cats called Darth Revan and Darth Bane, Anthony?
Like I said, I'm not a hardcore Star Wars like you guys. I'm more like the stuff I was focused on when I was younger were like Harry Potter and
nice.
So
and
I
like
think
Lord of the Rings and stuff like that.
You should play that game.
I think we all highly recommend that you go play Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic.
You can get on your phone for like $5 or $10, Tony.
Yeah.
And you can play on your phone.
Highly recommend it.
Yeah, highly recommend. But I want to go back to Deborah for a second here. Let's talk about the flip side, guys. What could she do for the MCU? Okay, let's just talk about that because I think in order to get a fair kind of perspective on how she should use her time, or if you're Disney, how best to use her as an asset. I mean, Captain Marvel does have a lot sort of hanging over it, right? I think most of us here are really not that into that drama. We'll probably go check it out and probably enjoy it, and it's whatever. But I think that there is a big narrative around it, and people did think the first one was less good than a lot of other MCU movies. So don't you think Deborah would sort of improve that situation? And do you think it would be cool to see her on Captain Marvel 2? What do you guys think?
I really want to see Captain Marvel 2 turn into. I was saying I really want to see Captain Marvel 2 turn to A-Force and directed by Deborah Chow, and I think she can definitely handle that. So, remind me again what else is like, get me caught up with Deborah's work as a director.
So mostly, yeah, and I think Trev has some of this pulled up, but I think mostly she's known for Jessica Jones season 1. Jessica Jones season 1, she was heavily involved with. She did some of Iron Fist. I believe she did some Breaking Bad.
All right.
Did she direct any episodes for Luke Cage by chance?
I'm not sure. And then famously, to most relevant, I think, to this conversation, is she directed 2 of the very best episodes of The Mandalorian. So, episode 3. Hit us with the IMDb.
So, before The Mandalorian, she directed an episode of American Gods. She directed an episode of The Man in High Castle. She directed an episode of Better Call Saul. She directed an episode of that Snowfall series, that I think it was the cocaine series or whatever that happened, like from LA in the early 80s. Mm-hmm. She directed an episode of the Netflix Lost in Space series.
Oh, really?
She directed an episode of Shut Eye. She directed 2 episodes of Fear the Walking Dead. She directed 6 episodes of Rain, a TV series, 2014 to 2017. She directed 1 episode of Iron Fist, 1 episode of Tyrant, 1 episode of Washington Spies on Turner, or Turn Washington Spies, 1 episode of The Vampire Diaries, 1 episode of Mr. Robot.
I want to know what Mr. Robot she did.
1 episode of A Newer Beauty and the Beast from 2015. 1 episode of Flowers in the Attic, a TV movie she directed Flowers in the Attic. It's a TV movie from 2014. I think that's based on a book, as I recall.
Yeah.
Copper, she directed 1 episode of Copper and 1 episode of The High Cost of Living, or the movie The High Cost. These are movies that she's directed.
Yeah.
What's way earlier in her career.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's impressive.
But it sounds like directing work for hire, right? Mostly she hasn't had a chance, other than the Obi-Wan now, she's getting a chance to do her own.
Right.
Run the actual whole show, right? So.
Yeah.
I think the perfect thing for her to direct would not be Captain Marvel 2. I understand it would benefit from her directing it, but Disney Plus Elsa Bloodstone series.
That'd be pretty cool. I mean, Elsa Bloodstone would be cool, and there's some rumors that Elsa would be coming in there for sure. But what if? I mean, I think they want to put her on Captain Marvel mostly because of the problems that might still be hovering over Captain Marvel.
Optics. It's the optics. Deborah Chow right now, like you said, she's very, like she said, she's like she's everything that you would want. She's liked by the male audience for the episodes of Star Wars.
Yeah, she hits the 4 quadrants.
She hits everything. She's female representation for, again, and that's what they want. That's a good thing for that movie. But at the same time, she's on a track with Star Wars.
Yeah.
She's on, like I said, like if I would like to see her follow that track with Star Wars for do Obi-Wan, maybe do a movie with Star Wars, and then after that, by all means, flip over to.
Yeah, keeping her in the Disney family. I think that, from what I've seen of her work, season 1 of Jessica Jones, and then the episodes in The Mandalorian, her strengths to me are character development, and just like those like sort of intimate character moments that resonate well with audiences. And so I think she could she does add a lot of value to the Captain Marvel as a character, because I think that she can work out some of those uh, interpersonal relationships that that Captain Marvel has with the people that she interacts with. I think for me, Captain Marvel, the relationships that she formed in the movie didn't feel full to me in a way. Like they all felt a little forced. Like, so I would like to see that character become a little bit more personable in a way.
Yeah.
Like, I think that was my only issue with it. It was like it's like she didn't relate to anyone, and so like I couldn't sense the stakes and the losses.
I agree. Dude, I honestly think that's more of a writing and directing problem than really it's even on Brie, though.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. I think Brie acted the part as it should have been acted based off how it was written. Like I don't think it was her. I don't think it was her acting. I just think that they just need to work on the dialogue a little bit better and make sure that those relationships feel real and not so forced.
It's just a weird movie. Like they tried to do an origin without doing an origin. You know what I mean? Like it was kind of strange.
I was just gonna say, incidentally, she directed episode 6 of season 1 of Mr. Robot.
Or this is
Shayla's kidnapped by Vera's brother in order to press before he's killed on the inside. I haven't seen the first season in like 4 years, so
yeah.
Or this is an interesting perspective, having her direct the whole first season of
Obi-Wan
Moon Knight from the perspective of the spouse who deals with a person who's dealing with a split personality.
Dude, that could be interesting, but honestly, just give her Moon Knight, just straight up. Like, you know, like, dude, she doesn't. She doesn't just have to do female stuff. You know what I mean? Like, definitely not. She's just super talented. I just think for the optics thing on Captain Marvel, that would be great. But dude, give her Moon Knight. I've changed my mind completely. Put her over at Marvel and give her Moon Knight. But anyways, go on, guys.
Why not give her Blade?
Give her Blade and Moon Knight.
No, that's what I'm saying. Do you think that would help females get into Moon Knight specifically because she's dealing with the female perspective of the spouse who is dealing with someone who has a mental disorder and stuff.
You want them to do a Moon Knight TV series like from the spouse's Moon Knight spouse's perspective?
Yes.
Look, I think that could be interesting. I mean, I think that could be interesting, but
that'd be lit. I mean,
you would have to be with Moon Knight on all his outings.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dan.
It's definitely. Oh my bad. It's definitely original. You know.
Yeah,
like,
that's true. Yeah.
I'll give Anthony that, but yeah, I'm trying to see Moon Knight, brother. You know.
Yeah. I gotta see Mark Spector kicking a bunch of ass, being spooky as fuck.
No,
dude.
that's
like,
I gotta still see Mark Spector kicking, doing all the violent stuff, but from the spouse dealing with that and having to deal with him coming back to her and bringing all the stuff he deals with out in the street.
Yeah, Tony, I think dude, you're on it. I mean, that's good shit. I don't think Mark Spector, he has like a love interest, but I don't think he ever really has like
It sounds more like Spider-Man and Mary Jane.
No,
right?
his wife.
No. But I'm saying what you're describing sounds like Peter Parker and Mary Jane's relationship.
It does. Yeah.
That's what Mary Jane deals with Peter when Peter's married to Mary Jane in the future. Like when he's grown up, like it's a big time deal breaker for Mary Jane that she has to worry about Peter all the time, being out there, worrying that he might not come home.
Moon Knight had a wife or something like that.
Yeah, I think he does have a wife. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she gets killed by one of his like arch enemies or something like that. His villains.
That's tough.
Yeah,
it's tough, but to be expected, I guess.
I have to go eat dinner, guys. So nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you, brother. Be well, man. Take care.
Peace out.
Take it easy.
So I think it's possible that Deborah does even more like Avengers, right? So I was kind of talking about how I think they might Russo brother her. And you know, this kind of popped in my head actually, Freeman, when you were talking about the last thing you were talking about. Something in me resonated where I was like, you know, what would be kind of cool is if they put her over at Marvel. One of the things I don't think she's necessarily that good at is like large scale action. So you were kind of talking about some of the things that she does well. Well, she wouldn't even have to worry about that at Marvel because they already have the action set pieces sort of built in, and they have that other director for that. So if anything, she could actually learn how to shoot big scale action a little bit more, so that if she were to come back to Star Wars after that, she could really bring it. I don't know what you guys think.
So what's the benefit of her directing an Avengers movie? Like like other than them wanting her to do it, like it's just like what's the like? I think maybe she could do it. Maybe she I'm sure a whole bunch of directors could do it, but like I personally, I want to see her put her own personal stamp like on something real rather than a team like just come in to direct a team up movie. Like something more personal, like what the Obi-Wan. But go ahead, Freeman. Sorry.
Yeah. So what if she does Fantastic Four?
It'd be different.
Because that would be like a step in the door into that larger scale.
Is Peyton already doing that though? Did Peyton get that?
Oh, I don't know.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows for sure. But
X-Men, they have him. X-Men. The only
X-Men. X-Men's a large chunk of films that they.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, because X-Men is pretty much an Avengers size team by itself, right? So if you wanted to, break her into the larger scale action set piece, you could do the Fantastic Four, because I think that's sort of like the middle ground.
Or if they did like X-Men Blue and X-Men Gold or something.
Yeah.
The only X-Men thing that has really been confirmed is Alpha Flight. Today.
Yeah, I was actually just gonna. Yeah, I was gonna do a video about that, but man, this DC video, like,
so much Canadian content.
And let me just say this too. The video was cool. Okay, so the video was cool. The first one gets obliterated, dude. Like the thing that came out like Luke Skywalker in the First Order was just like blah 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 blah. Like 4 separate copyright claims on that first video. I was like, oh my god. So then I cut out some of it and I put it back out there. And it was cool until like about an hour ago, Warner Brothers struck it again, the new video. And so now it's not even monetized, which is likely why it's like, because it was doing really good and now all of a sudden it's not doing well. Point being, come on, Warner Brothers, what the fuck? It's like I'm trying here, you know what I mean? Like I'm trying to
still use some of that Flashpoint movie stuff I saw, right? So
what's up?
You still use some of the Flashpoint movie stuff, but you said you were. Go ahead though. Go ahead.
No, I actually recorded a bit where I said like, thanks to Trev for making me actually read this article, but I literally cut it because I was like, oh man, only the hardcore people need to know that I don't read the full article. And we don't want to put that out.
I saw that on the Discord. I saw you said that I was right.
You were right. Yeah, you were right. I'll say this about your question about Deborah and Avengers, because I think it's actually a good thing to bring up, because it's kind of like, well, what's the draw, right? Well, let's think about this. The Russo brothers. What's really the Russo brothers style? Like, if you think about it, if you put up
all episodes in Community. The ones that they directed, yeah.
Well, with the Marvel movies, what's the style? Like, what's the pattern? Is there something that like you could say like that's a Russo one? Like, what's, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, in 3 words, why so serious? Just think about that. That's why so serious, Russo brothers? Civil War, Winter Soldier, Infinity War. Like, is something wrong? Like, not wrong with you, but like y'all be making these hardcore hit the heart type stories.
So
that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Okay. They add stakes to they make it.
They know how to blend the comedy and the action and the stakes and the heart together. They have a good feel on how to do that. Go ahead.
Like the movies they do, it's like somewhere between like Dark Knight and a Marvel Iron Man 1. Like they're in that middle ground, which is why those movies work, because you don't take them like so serious, but there are serious moments that are like, they hit you. And that was
Winter Soldier is my favorite MCU movie.
Because there's a clear shift in direction in just the style and the tone with Winter Soldier that kind of sort of broadens the audience a little bit.
So let's say we give Deborah Chow Fantastic Four, like you're saying, or maybe like a Wolverine or whatever. Let's say if she's that, and if she changes the tone and she sets a certain tone for how she wants those movies done, and building on that, I would see her getting a bigger level movie after that, where she's directing a lot of personality.
Yeah. So sort of going back to like what you said, I think the benefit would be like if she nails Cap Marvel 2, which I do think will be in some ways like an ensemble movie, like either A-Force or A-Force combined with like getting ready for the reports are that they're going to set up the status quo for the Avengers movies. So
maybe it'll be a capper on that Secret Invasion TV series.
Right? For sure.
Capper on that probably.
Yeah, go ahead.
No. Just the point is just that I think if she nails that, she can bring that same sensibility to like a larger work. I think actually the Russo brothers, like, you guys brought up all these things that is like their style. I think a lot of their style is just being really technically good at making movies.
Yeah.
And then it's really just the Marvel formula, like basically executed to perfection. I don't know if the Russo brothers even have a distinct style. I just think they're like really, really good at all the little things it takes to execute a movie properly. And they've just did that better and better. Like, dude, Infinity War, insane. And then Endgame is like the fact that they even pulled that off is insane. So I think like they want to do the same thing with Deborah, and Feige might have a really good talent for like recognizing those types of directors. Like this is a person that's going to excel at every little thing that I need, the pacing, you know what I mean? The acting.
It's their knowledge of the movie base too, like the movie history too. Because you notice that like a lot of the Marvel movies are set pieces from older movies.
Oh yeah, they just grab.
Right? So they're grabbing like let's say this is from The Godfather, like for example the end of Infinity War or something like that with the music, or this is Gladiator with him running his hands through the grass. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's like it's all they're all taking let's do this, and this, and we'll adapt it for Marvel for this story. And they're doing that well. They're like adapting all these other old movie set pieces and making it Marvel, and they're doing that really well, maybe as opposed to some of the as well, the other directors that aren't doing it as well.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get too carried away with the fan theories, like how are they going to handle? How are they handling bringing in the like X-Men and Fantastic Four and all of these other Marvel characters that haven't been a part of the Marvel universe thus far? Because
Deborah Chowing them all. Deborah Chow will find a way. Don't worry.
Because it's like, all right, we
Chow
had
it up.
Infinity War and Endgame. Like you've had all these Earth level events, and they've been nowhere to be found. And it's kind of like, how are they handling that? Is it the multiverse of madness? Like, is it is it with the Wandaverse?
Or they
like
were
a
young,
combination of
or
both?
they were too young. Like say, if the X-Men haven't been around since the 60s, the mutants maybe haven't been around. So the mutant gene maybe just exploded in the last, like, let's say in that universe.
So, then that requires them changing the whole origin story of Xavier and Professor.
I guarantee you that's not. I'm telling you, they are not plucking the mutants from it. Wanda didn't create nothing. No, man, the mutants have been around.
Yeah,
it's just you gotta trust Feige's plan.
How in the Ultimate Universe, like the government,
and I don't have a problem. Yeah, I don't have a.
Wait, I didn't hear Dan's final. I didn't hear the end of Dan's point. What'd you say, Dan? You said
I was saying
they've been around.
Right, the mutants have been around. Like, there's this theory that Professor X has been hiding them, or they're gonna adapt the new Hickman comic. They were all hidden on this island. You just gotta trust Feige's plan with that because he's still in charge. He hasn't left the MCU yet, so that's what I was saying. Like, Feige clearly has a plan for the mutants, the Fantastic Four, the new folk, the old folk, all of them for the Phase 4 and Phase 5 and Phase 6. You just gotta trust the plan. That's just Freeman's thing is basically a wait and see type of thing. For real.
I was just saying, remember in the Ultimate Universe, like S.H.I.E.L.D. like created the mutants, right?
Yes.
So S.H.I.E.L.D. or like the United States government, they created the mutants in the Ultimate Universe.
So I think that the mutants are going to have been around. I think that there could potentially be what would be really interesting is if the first snap that Thanos did accelerated the mutations, because there's still a connection between Wanda and Pietro and the Mind Stone.
Because there were so much less people. Like way less.
Well, not only that, but the fact that cosmic energy just shoots out and perhaps triggers that mutation. Because I think Logan,
the stones, the Infinity Stones, kind of sort of accelerate the music.
Accelerate it, yeah.
Okay, I could do that. I
actually heard that the three different snaps are supposed to be what's going to bring the Eternals into the modern MCU. Like, all right, guys, what the fuck's going on? Like, that's what's going to bring the Eternals.
So what if can the Eternals create the X-Men in a way?
Oh yeah,
like,
I think you'll
so.
see. Yeah. I think you'll see Namor. I think you'll see even Apocalypse. Maybe there's a rumor that you could see Apocalypse in the Eternals. But like, so they'll do like a big.
The Celestials created the X gene, right? Then the Celestials,
yes,
Right.
they did.
already-
Yeah, yeah, and it didn't manifest until a long time later with Apocalypse being the first mutant. But yes, they did create that gene back then. So yeah, I think that's the way they'll do it. I do think though they are going to modernize Xavier and Magneto though.
and also remember, Professor X also can mind
You don't think
like that. If they
really-
don't want to have that as access to his power, he can mind wipe the planet. You know, what I mean?
Do you really not think that they're going to do the Holocaust survivor story, Josh, for Magneto?
It's just getting really. Here's the thing. The reason I don't think so is because they got to be careful because both the X-Men and the Fantastic Four technically have backstories that took place a long time ago.
And
so,
Dr. Doom. And Dr. Doom.
So if they do like basically like this, if they do fish out of time or man out of time with the Fantastic Four, which is likely what they're going to do, which is like that in the 60s they were, messing around and then like they get popped somewhere and then they come back. They can't do that with the X-Men also, right? So like I feel like they have to modernize, and if you're going to modernize one of those groups, maybe modernize yeah, but the thing is, you can actually make Charles and Eric, make them like you can make them second generation, right? Holocaust survivors, like the children of Holocaust survivors and the crazy stories that Eric's fathers would tell him or whatever. You can still do that. There's all sorts of stuff that they could do, but yeah, I don't think it plays.
If you make the Fantastic Four a fish at a time, do you make Doom a fish at a time?
Well, yeah, because he is connected too. Like,
I understand what you were talking about earlier, what we were talking about earlier in the day and all that kind of stuff. But that was my thought process. If you make Reed Richards a fish at a time, and you don't do that to Doom, or if you have Doom, you have to have Doom be like 70 years old right now.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Doom would be whooping on that ass though.
Well,
because
like here's Doom's importance. Unless there's a comic I don't know about, he's mainly covered in metal anyway, and he already sounds kind of old when he talks. In video games,
Doom is the same age as Reed. They were classmates. They're always shown as classmates, right?
Yeah, I know their origin, but what I'm saying is like mostly when you see Dr. Doom, you just see him in the metal get up. So like if they were to do that, then this wouldn't really be a problem. I mean, they would have if they cast a big name actor, that might be a different take on Doom. But what I'm trying to get at is Dr. Doom will mostly be seen in his classic Doom stuff. So if the Fantastic Four, they knew Hank back in the 60s in the day, and they get stuck in the microverse, that place, and Doom doesn't.
They need to give Doom the Vader treatment and just put a body in the suit and then let someone else voice him. Just dub it.
They might. I'm really interested to see what they do with Doom. They could. I mean,
Dr. Doom.
He just needs to be a body in the suit and just
Doom is also a big part of his story is being the second best sorcerer on the planet too, right? Like second.
No, he's incredibly powerful. Like
second best to Reed, second best to Doctor Strange. He could be a Doctor Strange rival, and he could also be, if let's say he goes through time the regular way, and the Fantastic Four are lost, he could also be de-aging himself with magic or something.
That's what I was thinking. I was actually thinking about how he gets the time travel like way before a lot of other people, and so like even
time travel in a lot of
So like if you do so if you do the Fantastic Four out of time, you could have like what if like they're trapped in a time thing and Victor's just going through time, dude? You know what I mean? Like just.
I was gonna say because I know you've covered the Secret Wars thing plenty of times, Josh. What if the deal with his aging problems, he becomes that, deal with his decaying.
A big tangent we went off here. Deborah Chow, and now we're talking about Fantastic Four.
It's all right. Hey, it's late in the stream. We're talking Doom, man. You brought Doom in, man. No, I think they'll get to God Emperor Doom 100%. I think look. We all actually know Feige better than a lot of these Hollywood peoples, okay?
Yeah,
And that's because
I got
we're
it on my
nerds.
speed
We're nerds. We get it. Okay, we know what Feige saw when he saw God Emperor Doom on the page. He saw the same thing we saw. He saw
For
God.
That white armor.
So he's bringing him into the MCU. He's doing it. He's got to do it.
As long as they get to Silver Surfer, just
Oh yeah,
Whoa.
Surfer for sure. Yeah.
you can't omit.
Silver Surfer's way too popular to not do. Like he's one of the other characters that got his own cartoon. He's one of he's way
Yeah.
too popular not to do that show.
Silver Surfer's coming. He's gonna. I just don't know if the X-Men will come first or the Fantastic Four will come first.
Yeah.
'Cause-
I mean, the only reason why I want the Fantastic Four in the MCU is for Doom and for Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
And Galactus.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Galactus.
I actually really.
See, I think you can actually have Galactus without the Fantastic Four.
You could.
I think you can.
You could. Yeah.
I think
You
That
could.
was a what if comic, and
honestly, we
Yeah,
might.
the
get-
Avengers,
I think you could do
lost.
that.
The Avengers lost to Galactus.
It would,
Yeah.
it would be very upsetting to fans, but I think you could totally put Galactus
It's
in the MCU.
possible, but you can't clap Galactus without getting the knowledge from Reed Richards. Reed's got to be
True.
there.
Yeah.
You
Reed
know how
could get it,
Galactus
Reed could
was
get
the
him.
first time is that Johnny Storm went and got the Ultimate Nullifier, and Reed
Yeah.
threatened to use the Ultimate Nullifier on Galactus. as
Yeah,
a bluff.
basically, and
As
Galactus
a
was
bluff.
like, "Damn,
Galactus backed off because he's like, well, Galactus is going to be erased from continuity.
Yeah.
dude, I love the run in the Ultimates comics where the Galactus from 616 goes into the Ultimates universe, and dude, they are just not ready. Like they are just not ready. He's just literally just murdering everybody. Like it's an amazing run.
Okay, I kind of off topic. I just had a thought about Endgame when Loki when they go back in time to get all the Infinity Stones, and Loki gets what is it, the Space Stone, the Tesseract,
Yeah.
and he just disappears, and they just don't address it. Like, is that like how they're keeping Loki alive?
I think
Yes.
Because like they
for sure.
totally just let that happen, and I don't did.
It's
How
weird
did they
they
get the
never talked
Tesseract?
about it,
So
right?
they go back further in time to get the Tesseract and
Yes.
the Scepter. Okay, right.
There's-
So
well-
like he just disappears out that timeline.
Does
Yeah.
Batman and Iron Man notice that he took the Tesseract? Because remember, it's
They
like
didn't address it. Like they
he disappeared without-
he just disappeared, and they're like, "Oh damn,
Well-
we screwed that up."
Okay, so Thor knew that Loki escaped, but he didn't see him like use the Space Tesseract Stone. But that's what the Loki show is for. It's going to answer. But what is unclear is this supposed to be an alternate universe Loki, or is this the same Loki that was choked in Infinity War? Like,
It's got to be
No.
alternate because
Well,
this happens
Well, no,
because
it's
that
not.
technically
It's a past-
happens
past
before
Loki
he gets
from the
choked
same
out.
timeline.
okay,
Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah, it's
From
the
the
same thing
dead.
they set up with the Nebulas and the Gamoras. So they already
Wow.
kind of set us up for this idea. Yeah, which
Right.
is another just brilliant Feige thing. God damn, this man's so
But
smart.
they like it, because that screws up the timeline a lot more than they acknowledge that it does, because he wasn't supposed to get the stone
Right.
at that point in the
Dude,
timeline, and
for
he
sure.
gets it and he's gone, and they're like,
Well, The other
Well,
thing is
like-
like, how does the space stone make him travel through time anyways? Does anybody have an
Without
answer for
time.
I have
that?
no idea.
No, I don't think.
I
He
mean,
does. I don't think he
unless-
does. He just disappears. He uses the Space Stone. So in 2012,
What's that?
he just uses the
scientifically?
Space Stone to escape. So
But time
Wait
and
a
space,
minute.
but time and space are
2012.
technically the same thing.
Yes.
wait,
because there's the
That's-
Space
that's-
Stone and the Time Stone. They're connected.
But in
Oh, you're right. So
specifically,
that
in
doesn't make
Marvel,
sense.
specifically in the Marvel universe, they're
Yeah.
they're
That
kind of
doesn't
two
make
sides of the same, because there's eternity and infinity, right? So
So
well, my
okay.
thing is Loki's plan was to get the Space Stone for Thanos anyway. So if he escapes with it, will the Space Stone even play that much of a role in the Loki series, or will he just?
I bet the
already-
TVA. No, like I bet the
Well, he
TVA is
has
gonna like grab him, like and get it
Well-
from him. Because otherwise, here's the thing: it doesn't make sense. We've seen the set photos where he's with the Time Variance Authority, right?
well, because
Uh-huh.
he's a
So
variant. He's a variant, right? He's
Well, yeah, but he's working with them. Point being, if he had the stone, he would just bail. Like if
Well, is
they
he working with them, or is he being imprisoned by them?
either way, he's working with them, right? So
He's
like,
imprisoned by them, and then maybe used for his skills.
yeah. That's probably what it is. Is
Sure.
like to get like good behavior on his sentence
Yeah.
or whatever. Like he'll have to help them. But yeah, so like he wouldn't be working with them if he still had the stone. He would just bail. So
Right.
it's got either the stone isn't working anymore, which would be really cool, or the TVA just finds him and beats him, takes him.
Well,
Gets out.
someone had to get that stone back.
And
right?
Thanos would-
Well, no, because They got
They
the
get the
soul-
one
Still
from
be
the
alive
other
in
one.
that time
Yeah.
period.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
the
Loki's
70s.
supposed to be going through different points, changing history anyway. Is
Yeah,
folks, but
in the course of human history, he's supposed to be like messing with human history. But
Bec-
anyway, let's talk about
that's
Daniel's
wild.
question here. You got the super chat. Thanks for the love, man. Will the Silver Surfer get his own movie? Also, is there an Omega mutant hiding the rest / erasing the memories of people from the world? Love the night community streams.
Professor
Yeah, that's
X.
kind of Dan's theory.
yeah, like if they go with that, then that would already imply that mutants have a history on Earth already. Like
And Professor X could just be wiping them out, right? Just like
Mhm.
I'm saying, like,
it,
yeah.
covering it up. Yeah, that's why they weren't at Sokovia and all that stuff.
Imagine we get a remix of like the Infinity War fight, like what. Remember, we kind of thought they would be doing that in
Yeah.
Endgame. That we would show it with the Hulk there though, instead of. But
Right.
let's say we'd go back and do that, but
With
there's
the
like
X-Men.
like with the X-Men running beside them and all
Yep.
that, it's all wiped out.
Yep. For sure. And as for that Silver Surfer movie, I mean, Fox is supposed. I mean, they're not doing it anymore, but they were. So it'd be kind of cool if Feige were to adapt that and just.
I think we'll get Silver Surfer as part of God Doom. That's to me. I think we'll get Silver Surfer will be the one because Molecule Man is way too out there. And in the original Secret War,
Okay.
in the original Secret War,
Yeah.
it was Doom, like from the early 80s Secret War. Doom absorbed Silver Surfer's power, so
Right.
like, it'll be a little bit of both Secret War 2015, and Secret War 84 or 83 or something like that, whatever year it was. Like it'll be a combination of both of those, and it'll probably be them absorbing the Silver Surfer's power, and then after that, that's how the Silver Surfer will be. Whatever, right? Like
Yeah, I'm into that. And they might change the whole concept of the power cosmic and like Galactus as a battery and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, they could change that stuff up. That would be pretty cool.
That would be my. That's I think that'll be the first time we see the Silver Surfer will be him as a battery for Doom.
Oh yeah. Dave says, "Oh, let's see. Let's get on this." Dave says, "Are we talking Marvel? Do we still even cover Marvel? I thought this was a DC and Star Wars channel." So anyway, let's talk some DC and Star Wars, boys. No, man. What do you want me to do, Dave? There ain't nothing going on. Feige's leaving us out to die on the vine, bro. You know?
Let's talk about giving hints to people in the final round of the Nerd Card Trivia Showdown. Metallic versus chromatic.
Oh, shit. Trev won't let it go. Hey, by the way, guys, this week, the first elimination round on the Nerd Card Showdown. You got to come check it out. Slipper Clan versus the Fantastic Four. That's Dave's team, actually. And we shall see which team gets through. Adam said my check came in the mail today, so it's all good. Yeah, as soon as those shield checks start clearing, then we'll talk, right?
Share the wealth, Josh. Share the wealth.
Hey, look, they're not treating me good these days, bro. Warner Brothers over here like shooting my freaking video up like Swiss cheese. Hopefully. But yeah, any last thoughts, guys, before we get out of here? Just any kind of just things about Deborah, things about Marvel, things about Star Wars, or anything?
Yeah, this Star Wars MCU must be discussed before we leave, Josh. I feel like there's more ground to be covered here.
Yeah, what are your questions? What do you want to know?
Like, there's apparently a new character that's supposed to help the rumored characters getting their other show. Like, what was it? Boba Fett, Ahsoka Tano, Thrawn, and Ezra, and Mando.
And a mystery, yeah.
Yeah, there's supposed to be another one.
Is it confirmed that it's actually going to be Boba Fett, or is it going to be Rex? Like,
both.
I think we'll get both.
Yeah.
I think we might get Boba Fett masquerading as Rex. If Ahsoka hasn't seen Rex for a while.
That'd be a twist.
If Ahsoka hasn't seen
Fuck
Rex,
out of here, dude. That'd be crazy. Dude, Ahsoka would. I feel like Ahsoka would figure that out.
I mean, but technically he's done it before. He
Ooh.
did it. Boba. Because he infiltrated the clone ship to try and assassinate Mace in the Clone Wars. So he's technically he's done this before.
Damn.
He can do it again.
Man,
I hope
tough.
not.
because we'll have.
I don't want to see that.
Timothy Oliphant's going to be in the Boba Fett armor as that other guy that has got Boba Fett's armor, right?
Oh yeah, Boba's got he's got to get
That would
his
be kind
armor
of cool.
back.
You know, it would be kind of cool though if Rex and if like Rex, what's the character?
Sabine?
No.
Tamara Morrison, the
no,
guy, or
no. The in the
Cobb.
Mandalorian, the girl, I forget her name. The
Cara
UFC.
Cara
Cara
Dune.
Dune?
Yeah, Cara Dune. What if it would be cool if Rex, or they drop troopers?
Shock
If they
Trooper,
were,
yeah.
if they were in the same division or
Yeah.
battalion, and it's like
Commando during the Return of the
they
Jedi.
know each other. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be
Well,
really cool.
He said, I think Josh told me like a couple months ago that was retconned out, right? That Rex wasn't there during the.
Yeah, they changed that actually.
Why
yeah,
did
yeah.
they change that?
Why?
Because
Dave
they've got
Filoni had
plans
the
for
picture.
Rex now
Oh,
on
but
Disney
he-
Plus. That's why.
But he
Wait,
but he
what?
didn't die on Endor. He like you just see a picture of him
Well,
surrendering
that's what
Yeah.
Filoni based old Rex
off
on
of that character. But
on
they're
that-
saying,
on that picture of that guy, right?
but
like,
they're saying that isn't actually Rex.
yeah.
So it's just another random clone in the Rebel Alliance, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess.
Man, bump what they say. We can make it our head canon.
That's what
Yeah, I
like,
mean, you
he
can. You're
didn't-
free to
it's
do
not
that.
like
You're
he
free to
didn't.
do that.
I mean, he didn't die, so it's not like they're retconning. Like he could.
No,
he
I
could
know, but I
totally
think
have been
that
there.
well, here's the thing though.
Unless they wanna
Depending on what they do with the character and depending on where they do it with the character, it would be impossible for him to be on Endor
At that time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he'll be with Ahsoka doing whatever.
Yeah, or on the way to that. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
You guys think?
And maybe we'll see him die. Maybe Tamara Morrison will come, like he said, he's coming back. So maybe we'll see Rex die because
Yeah. But
Rex,
to answer,
Rex will be a super old clone.
I don't want to see Rex die. Rex just has to die in like something.
you don't want him to die off screen though. No,
Yeah,
you need that moment, man. You
I
need
don't
to
need to see
cry.
that.
You need
Yeah,
to,
No, I don't.
you need to have those tears hit the
He's
page,
probably
man.
the final clone. That's him,
They
Gregor.
like.
He's the
Well,
final
here's
clone.
here's what I don't want. I don't want them to bring him into the Mandalorian just to kill him, like in that same season. Like
Okay.
this has to be another season. Like give him his episode.
Well, you know
So-
how there was that. Go ahead, Dan.
We just got to drag out his death, right, Freeman? We ain't got to kill him off immediately.
Don't
Okay.
don't bring him into the episode and then kill him. It's like oh my
Yeah,
like
yeah.
no,
Remember
I don't want that.
footage where Boba Fett kills Cad Bane that they didn't use because that footage still hasn't been used. What if they do that with Rex instead?
I got that footage on my computer
Where
somewhere.
Boba Fett kills instead of killing Cad Bane, which technically Cad Bane is still somewhere alive too, right?
Well, he doesn't
He
kill
can't
him.
be.
There's he gives
Oh,
him
yeah.
the dent. He gives him the
can't.
dent in the helmet. Yeah.
Oh, so
I think they both
because
go for the
everybody
head,
thought-
and I think Boba kills Cad, but the Mandalorian, the Beskar protects
Yeah.
Boba.
But like,
Yeah.
Now, if Cad Bane's still alive, that's a character that needs his own show. Just
100%, dude. 100%. Cad Bane would be dope.
Well,
Let's go to Daniel's thing here. He says, "Is Rey gonna have any part in the future Star Wars, even if they bring in Ezra and others?" And let me
I
just
hope
say,
so.
yeah. I mean, look, I think a lot of people would hope so as well. I think there's a lot of people that would hope not. You know what I mean? Like just being real. My thing is, it feels like they're setting up something that is very much detached from the Skywalker saga.
well, and they're setting up something between Mando and the Force Awakens. They're not going to go like so.
Well,
Anything,
they could still go post episode 9, even with what they're doing, but it feels like what they are building is very separate from that saga, purposely so. You know what I mean? So, and I think that they have a really good out now, which is that, hey, they made the end of the Skywalker saga. They did episode 9. It's over now. Rey's story, because she was a big part of that story, is done. And I think that's what Daisy said too. When people asked her about coming back, she said, "I just feel like it's such a good ending. I don't know what there would be to tell after it." You know what I mean? Specifically for her character. So I think she could come back. I would want her to come back. I'd want the twins to be a thing, and I'd want all that. But it does look like Lucasfilm is building something that doesn't require her. You know
if
what I mean?
anything, I could see Rey as if they do a set piece on Jakku, or they're doing something on Jakku, and you see like a little 5-year-old Rey or something, or whatever, however old Rey was when she was dropped off there.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I mean, I want to see her and Ezra try to rebuild the Jedi Order.
Yeah, dude, for sure.
We talked about it on the last stream with, you know, we had that perfect stream with the Death Stick passing ideas. It was great. The new Jedi Order. Have
'Cause-
Ahsoka in that Nick Fury role, hot
Yeah,
dog it.
'cause she's-
Recruit these people. Yes, let's get it going.
But
Yeah.
the thing is, Ezra will be by the end of that. Ezra will be like how old Luke was, right? Because they're like
Yeah.
the same age.
Man, Count
Ezra-
Dooku was 112. Yeah.
Or maybe-
I mean, Ezra can still, but see, because Ezra has,
I'm sorry,
Ezra
Trevor.
really could try to complete Rey's training as a Jedi
Or-
if we're keeping it 100. Because
what
like,
if Ezra's an agent of Thrawn that has to be turned back?
I always
could
thought
be-
it would be the
that
other
could
way
be
around. That
interesting.
Thrawn would actually be like working for Ezra.
Like
Like-
what if they're gonna do Thrawn? What if Ezra's taking the place of Sabaoth?
I wouldn't be opposed to Ezra being.
It's like he's the one. He's coordinating.
I would
yeah.
not be opposed to him being
As a
villain.
Jedi aide, he's coordinating Thrawn's attacks on things.
Man, I feel like if
Ezra's right on that cusp of kind of being.
he is. I agree, but I feel like if Ezra does dip into the dark side, I don't think it should be because of Thrawn. I don't think it should be because of Thrawn. I think that if he does, like, it would have to be another outside thing.
I
Because
think he
believe
has-
it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'll just say this: I don't think Thrawn is actually that. They've changed him a little bit from the EU, so I don't think that's really his thing anymore.
He's still
I think
Thrawn's a master manipulator, still in the Rebels.
he's a master manipulator, and he would definitely be able to use Ezra, but I don't think he would like push him to the dark side. Do you know what I mean?
But
Like he's
still a psychopath, Thrawn, and even in canon, they kept his like edginess. Even though he's more calm about it, he's still like a bastard. So, you know,
that's it. Yeah, for sure. That's true.
I would say prior to the events of season 4, without giving away spoilers of Rebels, I would say prior to those, what happened between Ezra and Kanan, it makes it very hard for me to believe that Ezra can be corrupted. I think he can be tempted, and maybe you can tempt him in his show with Thrawn.
Or Thrawn's
Because he technically,
But-
because he technically already had his Luke moment, and he faced the Emperor with two things. So yeah,
I think you can have a situation where, you know, the temptation is different, but inevitably I think that Kanan, in whatever form he may or may not be in that time period, and Ahsoka would have some part to play in him not going completely in that direction.
yeah.
oh my god, I just had a
Go ahead.
thought. I just had a thought. Like, so when we've all seen Rebels, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like we knew Ezra was a trouble kid, thief, little bastard, and he spent some time with the Rebels season 1 through 4. That's great, but he's gonna be spending more time with Thrawn though, because we don't know how long he's gonna be with him until Ahsoka finds him. So what if, you know, both of their not personalities, but their demeanor or whatever changes?
Sort of
like Thrawn
blends.
becomes
Yeah.
and you know, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I think he can be more like of an Anakin in the Clone Wars. Like,
work together for a common
Right,
cause.
exactly.
Right.
That's the thing. That's the big thing, Trev, is that if they have to work together for some big outside threat or some common cause, then like one of the things that I absolutely love about Thrawn as a character is he can actually pull the best out of people. Like that Eli Vanto character in those books. Like Eli's really, really smart, but he's like not really sure of himself, and he doesn't really like challenge himself. Thrawn turns him into a human version of Thrawn. Like he basically makes him into like an incredible commander. And he could do the same with Ezra, because Ezra has gaps. He's very powerful, but like he said it himself, like he doesn't plan things. You know what I mean? Like Thrawn is the ultimate planner. Ezra's the ultimate wing it kind of dude. So it would be really cool to see those two kind of blend into each other.
Know, Thrawn has worked with Jedi before because he worked directly with Anakin during the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
yeah.
So like that could, I mean, you can totally see him sort of laying down, you know, putting aside their differences just for their own survival.
I was gonna say if he finds that how's it pronounced, the Salamari or whatever.
Yeah, the Yasalamari, yeah.
The worms that like do let's say they add that to the canon. The worms that project a force bubble. A force
Yeah.
They won't do that. I already know they won't because Dave said they won't.
Okay. How long would? Okay.
I think there's some.
Hey,
I still feel like there's some
way
interesting
you
things.
can manipulate Ezra and all that kind of stuff, right? Or decide to do something with Ezra, right? I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to take this last question. Let's go around and just kind of talk about Brock's question, and then we'll call it, guys. But he said the new threat in Star Wars being in Netherrealm. Brock, if you're still in here, what do you mean by Netherrealm? Was that something
Is
in
that
the
the world
EU?
between worlds? Maybe.
The
Is that what
NetherRealm
you-
Studios Star Wars new game that NetherRealm is making besides Injustice. Huh?
Netherrealm? Yeah, Netherrealm
I've not heard of
Studios.
this.
Let's see, Netherrealm Star Wars.
This is news to me.
The Nether World of the Force, maybe.
He's got to be talking about that for sure.
Oh, the Mist Beyond and the Afterlife, the place where the souls come with the Qui-Gon. Okay. Yeah, maybe. So in a way I could get down with that because I think, that the Sith
you were talking about
gods.
Force gods,
Yeah, your theory that you put out earlier. What was it, last week? About the direction for Star Wars.
It
Some
might have
Sith-
actually it might have even been yesterday, to be honest
it
with
yesterday?
you. The
I don't
theory.
know. It's been
Yeah. Well, I've been kind of
Was it
on this
yesterday?
for a
Maybe
while.
that was
So like
Saturday. It was.
well, you
yeah.
might have seen yeah. There could have been a Friday one. I think the Friday one was one where I was talking about Kathy and I was talking about them. But like I've sort of been talking about the same.
Yeah, the more recent video that you put out recently with the Sith.
What if they bring the father, the daughter, and the brother back in? Like the brother, like from the Mortis arc.
Yeah.
Those are Force gods. Those are Force gods.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. The Mortis gods. I mean, Palpatine refers to them as that. Yeah.
So when you're saying Sith gods, like
that could be interesting.
Yeah, like I'm like, are you mean like let's say like the spirit of Bane or something like that? Or
No. I think something much worse.
I want them to bring, instead of using Nihilus in the Old Republic, make him the big evil Force threat in following the sequel trilogy.
Was his statue in Palpatine's chamber in Rise of Skywalker?
I have no idea. But as a threat, as a dark side, he to me he embodies the dark side more so than Palpatine does.
He's like a planet destroyer, right? He destroys planets, right?
He's a corruption in the Force, is what they called him. Like he's just a void, and it's like that's what the dark side really when they talk about the corruption of the dark side, like he's the embodiment of that.
Would you bring the Sith Triumvirate then, though? So you bring
I would just him. Just him. He doesn't need anyone. He doesn't need armies.
Do we really need something with the first name Darth as like the future threat of Star Wars? Like, haven't we had enough?
No, he can be Nihilus. Like I don't need him to be Darth Nihilus, but like him as a dark side Force user, dark side corruption. I'm totally
at the same time.
What's up?
I mean,
it'd be weird if we got Nihilus, like what he's talking about, Darth Nihilus,
and Galactus at the same time,
and Galactus or Annihilus.
Yeah, it would be crazy. Yeah. I think
like the Nihilus wave and Nihilus.
Look, it's like funny because I want the Sith gods, and I think the Sith gods would be a really interesting. I'm actually leaning more towards something like Abeloth, or something like that, like a sort of deep corruption and this thing that's like twisting the Jedi. But I've also thought like that the Rakatan Empire would be really interesting. I don't know how down people would be for these like huge squid looking dudes with like their eyes out like that, but like the Rakatan are dope. So
I like the Rakata more than I did the Yuzon Vong because
me too.
They like the way they use the dark side of the Force
to
power all their technology.
Yeah, and the Force hounds and stuff like that. Yeah.
To me, I like that better because that's a different way of using the dark side than we've seen before. Like the Infinite Empire and the Infinite Machines, and them being able to create these infinite armies of battleships and starships. Like, that could be really interesting.
We need to see Sith power. We need to see dark side power shown to its fullest, and maybe that's what Nihilus is. That's what we haven't really. As for as much as of Star Wars we've seen. We haven't seen someone, which Anakin was supposed to be, I guess, but we haven't seen someone like use the Force the way we've seen it in Legends, the way we want them to use it. You know what I mean? The way we want them. Go ahead.
we will get that. I feel like we're gonna get that, Trev, but like in the old Republic when all the Sith were around, honestly.
Yeah,
But
like
see,
it was,
I'm
they were
totally
at their.
yo finish. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was saying like when the Sith armies were around, Darth Bane, Darth Revan, and the others, like it's gonna be whenever that movie does come out, I feel like it's gonna be told there than like in the future. I think the
Yeah,
future is gonna be something different than
and
because
some
the
people say
past.
they don't want to
yeah,
see.
well, the 100 year darkness takes place like 9,000 BBY, and like the Jedi and Sith from that point on have these on and off conflicts for that
Yeah.
remainder of that 8,000
Yeah.
years. Like, so I mean, the old Republic it's
Mhm.
going to be chock full of stuff like that. But
Mhm.
I can't subscribe to the notion of them completely getting rid of the Sith post the sequel trilogy. Like
No, I don't think
they
so. Yeah.
there are Sith holocrons. There are so many other
Yeah, that's
ways
all it
for
would take,
people
really,
to
right? Yeah.
like if you because oppression is all it
Yeah.
takes. Like someone wanting to defeat an oppressor, and then the temptation and that call to the
But that
dark
doesn't have
is
to be
all
Sith,
it.
right? But it doesn't have to be Sith. It could just be a dark side user. Like Sith is
Yeah.
just a teaching method, right? Like just like you don't have to be a Jedi to be like you said. Like Ahsoka's probably not a Jedi anymore. She's probably
Right.
not a Jedi. She's probably something beyond. But
Yeah.
she's still very light side. That's why she has
There are other practitioners of the dark side. I mean, I'm pretty sure the Night Sisters are practitioner of the
100%.
dark side of the Force, but
Yeah.
it's kind of like
Someone
how did they preserve
did
their
leak-
knowledge? Because the only dark side entities that I know preserve their knowledge are the Sith, because they put them in holocrons, and those are scattered throughout the galaxy.
and Sith temples.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Well,
were you saying, Dan?
someone did leak. I was saying someone did leak. I don't know if it was Dave or it's the story group, but they did say that there are other Sith survivors, like during the sequel trilogy. I'm not sure where I heard that from, but it is confirmed that, like, if you just Google it, you'll probably find who it is. But there are other Sith during like the sequel trilogy. They're just hiding, like,
I believe
they're
it.
around.
Well,
Well, there were
the people ghosts, or were they actual people in like in the chamber room with Palpatine and Rey?
those were real people.
Those are real people. Sith
Yeah.
cult.
Yeah, Sith
Right.
acolytes. Yeah.
Well, they said cultists, I think, during the
Yeah,
thing.
they're cultists.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
We
Those are
believe
real.
that
They're kind of like Palpatine fanatics more so than they are like true Sith acolytes.
acolyte.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure that there's been some stuff written about them, but I think the coolest like thing about that is it shows that the Sith existed in the unknown regions well beyond the scope of the known galaxy, the Republic, or the Jedi. Like basically nobody knew that Exegol was out there, but apparently
So it really
some
seems
people did.
that
But do you think?
Palpatine really dropped the ball then, right?
I'm
Well,
sorry.
I was gonna say, Palpatine knew and probably lied about the rule of two, then, so he can be the only one with power.
I was just gonna say he probably dropped the ball.
Well, the Sith, the rule of two wasn't so much that there was literally only two Sith like practicers or like worshippers, because they had a bunch of Sith underlings, right? Which I think are what those like acolyte or people are out on Exegol. The rule of two was that there was basically just going to be two like Sith, right? And that they were going to structure it in a way that the master had all the power and the apprentice desired all the power, and that was the basic structure of Sith society. But like if you think about it,
They're only
Well-
passing teachings on from the master.
yeah, but I mean, if you think about it, even Palpatine breaks this rule. He has Maul as an apprentice at the same time he's grooming Dooku. He knows Dooku has another apprentice. Like all this stuff is they all know it's going on, and they all have their secret apprentices so that they can overthrow the master and bring in their apprentices. That's all technically still a part of the rule of two, even though it's more than two people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
But-
I mean, but the Sith are like this. That's a mob Godfather type of story. Like
yeah,
that's just how they run that empire. Like that's how I see it. Like you got.
I do want to see
before
them
the
get
rule
away
of
from the
two.
rule of two, though. I want to see them
Before the rule of
flourish.
two, like to me, it's like this is a big Godfather story. Like you've got these different families or groups of Sith that, and they follow these certain teachings of certain like Sith or masters or
I view it like a
darks or what
religious
have you.
war, like the Crusades.
I think so. I think what would be interesting because the Zygerian Empire was overthrown by the Jedi sometime during the Old Republic, and I would like to see that be the conflict that leads to the Sith and Jedi splitting. Because that could, because you're talking about a philosophical difference in how they fight, because the Jedi don't believe in violence first, right?
Right.
But when you've got like a slave empire that's like, if you look like that episode of the Clone Wars when Obi-Wan is being like turned basically into a slave, like that's, imagine like because they could corrupt a Force user and turn into the dark side, like understanding that the Jedi principles only go so far, and it's like at a certain point you've got to realize that you might have to take somebody out before they do more harm than good, like, and the Jedi code wouldn't allow a Jedi to do that. So I think you've got like a Charles Xavier and Magneto type of there's one master, and it could be, I think it would be cool if it was Kreia.
Ooh.
And then like, because that's Revan's master, right?
Yeah.
So
Kreia?
like because what's her name before she's a Darth is, I think it's Kreia.
Right.
And then she takes her Darth title is Treya. So it would be cool to see her, and then like if she's like the master of the order, and then there's a Grand Master, because I think Mace Windu is the master of the order. I think it's technically his title, and then Yoda is the Grand Master. So if you've got that dynamic, and then they've got friction, and so there's a group that sides with Kreia, and then whoever the Grand Master is at that point.
There's a schism in the order that separates.
And then that's what separates them. Like, it's just a philosophical difference in how they go about it, and then over time that just gets corrupted into what we.
So would you like to see that same idea brought back then, like past episode 9, like trying to find an acolyte or someone who still believes in the Sith to bring back that Sith order?
It would be dope if they are able to start. Oh shit!
Like an Anakin, but like for the dark side, like to bring back the Sithari.
But no. Think about it. If Rey and Ezra become like, they can meet past the sequel trilogy, and then Ezra with his experience with Thrawn, he's going to have a different philosophy than Rey, and you could start another schism over time, because they would have a just difference in philosophy and how they approach creating the new Jedi Order. Like that could.
How do the
that could do something.
What is it that Ahsoka is, like a Tortugan or something like that? I can't think of it.
Torgruda.
Yeah. Yeah, and they live like 200 years, don't they?
Yeah.
At least
180. And then
I feel like this one might live even longer.
I feel like with the Force.
That's what I'm saying, right? So it's more likely that we'll see Ahsoka post episode 9. Ezra. I don't think because we'll see if Rosario Dawson is cast. Rosario Dawson 10 years from now will still be Rosario Dawson. If we cast an Ezra, like, let's say, for example, this is my fan casting. Let's say they cast Dev Patel or something like that as Ezra.
Sure.
So Ezra, Dev Patel will only be like 40 years old 10 years from now.
Yeah.
And like, whereas 10 years from now, Rosario Dawson really doesn't have to age that much. She'll age, but she doesn't have to. She doesn't have to show her age.
Well, she could be wearing a little bit of prosthetics too. So
she'll be 80 years old or 80 years old
and we've got de-aging.
Yeah. Oh, I know, right? We'll talk about that tomorrow with Keaton,
that'd be
baby.
light. That'll be light.
People are like, "Oh, Keaton's too old." It's like, what? You could de-age him.
You could give me Keaton at his current age and give me old grumpy ass Keaton Batman.
That's true. Yeah, for sure.
Batman Beyond, yes.
Yeah, we're doing Batman Beyond, 100%. 100%.
We need it. Batman Beyond.
All right, boys. Well, we're going to call it there. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks for nerding out with me about this. I thought it was a really good stream. And this thing worked. Hey, the StreamYard thing worked. So this will be how we do it from now on. So it should go much smoother on these. Okay. You guys are awesome. And we will be at it again tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., talking all about Michael Keaton, all about the DCEU. I'm actually really excited to talk about that tomorrow. It's going to be really cool.
I keep having 10 a.m. meetings, so I won't be able to do
Oh, no. You got to tell them. Be like, look, you can't do this. I got this blocked out. You know what I mean? No, you can watch the replay later. I know, right?
I'll catch it.
All right, gentlemen, thanks again for being here. Everybody at home, thank you guys for watching, either live or on the replay.
Chat Boys for life.
Yeah, Chat Boys for life probably going down. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.